Hello, hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
How's your tooth?
I'm trying to see if we can do the funny filters, but it's not letting me.
I know, I love the funny filters. I mean, they have, I don't even know if they work here. Yeah, so you could do like little ones, but yeah, if you press the little thing down below, but they're not as fun as the Zoom ones.
Oh,
That's fun.
gotcha.
Fun.
See this?
I like the butterflies.
I think I would
Sam
the
and I have
butterflies.
been
I
playing
think we
with
have to make it
filters.
fun. Yes.
The heart. We learned this week that you can add filters in Zoom.
Yeah.
At least I learned that this week.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I had no idea.
I had no idea either. Oh, that one's kind of weird. I don't like that one. I like the heart. I'm going to keep the heart.
There you go. That's cute. Something different.
It is something different. This is going to be eye-catching for anyone scrolling or if, you're on. I can't get comfortable because I'm so pregnant. But
the only thing with this filter is makes my nose weird. But okay.
I love the butterfly. So
get to something more less crazy.
That's okay. I think it looks fun. But I'm so excited to have you on with us, and I know that people will probably hop in and out or watch the replay.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you're live watching with us, feel free to drop a hi, hello, or comments, questions in as you go. Or if you're watching the replay, put #replay and then drop your questions or your comments, and Sam or I will be happy to respond. If it's a question specifically for one of us, probably mostly for Sam, because she's going to be sharing some hot tips with us today.
Yeah.
So excited. Sam and I met through a mutual client, Linda, who is on. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
And I'm just so obsessed with Sam's ideas and her marketing brain. So, of course, I had to get her to come on and share her story of how she started as a freelance. Well, you're more of a CEO. You were freelance and then you're a CEO now. That part of your journey and what you're doing to help clients and the tips that you can share. So the first question I have is, will you share your story with us?
Yes. So I'm a 29-year-old Puerto Rican. I live with my husband and my dog, and we live in Texas. We've been in Texas for about 6 years. So we finished college and then we were here. Basically, like my cousin said, I have an extra room without even knowing my then boyfriend, now husband. She was like, I have an extra room. And I was like, okay. So we came here and I started working where she was working. I've mainly worked before being an online business owner. I was working mainly customer service role, office management. In my last job that I had before the 2020 fiasco was a corporate job. And that corporate job, I was the head of customer service. It didn't start like that. It started just me being part of customer service, and then it ended up being like that. But I worked hand in hand with the marketing team, just every team, but we were right next to the marketing team. And I was always very intrigued by their promotions and the way they word things. So like, because they are still a medical device company and they're FDA approved. So they have to be smart with how they word things because they cannot make promises and all the things. And that was so very interesting to me because our main clients were doctors or nurse practitioners. So it was very interesting to me the way that color psychology, the way that they use the blues for, I don't know, I feel like it was so interesting to me. So I started reading about marketing 2018, 2019. And I was just like, at my job, at the corporate job, as you guys know, sometimes there's not many opportunities for you to grow, or sometimes you're in the same role for years and years and years, or they bring somebody new for a role that you were like, wait, I deserve this. And all of these things keep happening and you're like, wait, what? So when you're the CEO of your own company and when you do the things for your own, you are going to be more prone to be wanting to learn more things because like I can implement this myself. That doesn't really happen when you're in the corporate world because you're in one position, and usually if they don't want you to grow, you don't grow. And if they don't see your worth, they're not probably going to give you the opportunities. But I was like, I don't care. you know, if I ever grow into another role here, my thing is that I want to learn more about marketing on my own. Nobody needs to know. So 2020 happened, and then I was like, okay, I need to think about the next step. And the next step was social media management, because I got introduced to that and by a mutual a friend, and she was like, you should do social media management. And I was like, okay, I should definitely go ahead and do social media management. I started researching about it. This is easy. I'm already on my social media. I know how to manage it. I can do this, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to YouTube University, went to Pinterest University, and learned on my own, because I couldn't find courses that were like, you want to be a social media manager? Now I feel like there are some, but 2 years ago there were like not many.
None.
So I started managing Facebook groups and managing people's Instagram accounts, and I still do. I do have a couple of clients that I do social media management, but as soon as I will tell you, within 3 months, I found brand strategy. I read Donald Miller's Build a Story Brand, and I was hooked with brand strategy and marketing strategy, and then design. So everything came together where I was like, I'm not meant to be just a social media manager.
You had your aha moment.
I was like, I don't want to manage just one account for a client. I want to manage their whole business when it comes to like their branding, when it comes to like their brand strategy, which is different from branding, and then their marketing strategy, how they're going to be seen in the world and how they're going to put their message out there. So that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half, and it feels fulfilling to me. It's fun. Like, I feel like it's meant for me.
You mentioned that you said the brand strategy is different from the branding, and can you like expand upon that for us?
So
or for
branding,
people who maybe don't know?
of course, branding is usually more of like how you brand yourself in your business, like the visible things, the things that have colors, the things that have to do with your fonts, the things that have to do with your logo. Branding is how people see your business, and they look at the colors and they say like, oh, those two colors together, that's Emma. That's Emma stuff. So branding has to do with your visual identity, right? So if you think of big brands, like, for example, I'm gonna go to makeup because I was just doing my makeup. If you think about Kylie Jenner's brand, hers is like the baby pink, and every time you see a makeup like has baby pink, usually you make you think of that. And I think that's the visual. Brand strategy is when you put your fundamentals or your values, and you use that to work with your branding. So your branding is going to be attached to your brand strategy, but it has to do more with the messaging. That's even before marketing. So brand strategy is, how do you want to be known? What type of high level or low level, and I say low level with love, kind of brand you want to have, if you want to be high end or if you want to be just regular schmegular and everybody can buy it. So brand strategy has to do with fundamentals. Brand strategy also has to do with the client journey that you're taking that client on, from their first touch point. So whether they go to your Instagram, they go to a store, that brick and mortar, or they go to your online space, whether it's a website or Pinterest or a YouTube channel, they're doing touch points, and you're getting that person through a journey to your brand strategy. Part of that brand strategy can also be, when it comes to like the touch points, every single touch point is part of your branding, part of your brand. Those can get confusing. So you have to give them a good experience in every space that they're in, that you are in too. So when it comes to that, you have to make sure that your values are known by people. So you have to scream it out loud in your branding. So you figure out your values and your fundamentals in the brand strategy, and then with your branding, you communicate those values. So they just go hand in hand. And I think that it's really important to have the distinction. Also with branding, with brand strategy, you have to understand that you're not the hero of the story. And that's just what one of the books that I was reading when I first was reading it, which is, I have it right here. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller.
I love, if anyone doesn't follow Sam, and she'll just be posting all about the books that she gets. Last week she posted all these books she got from the bookstore, and I was like, I love that you still buy paper books because I'm an Audible girl.
I have to be, because if not, we're gonna have just towers of this. But in Building a Story Brand, he shows you how to make sure that you're guiding your client in that journey, and not just trying to be like, I have this amazing product and this is why you need it, you have to buy it now. No, this is the transformation that is going to give you this product. This is the solution that this product is going to give you to the problem that you have. So you know, when it comes to like brand strategy, is making sure that your message, right, and your values and everything is put out there in a way where people don't feel intimidated, but they feel intrigued about it. So, you know, there is the difference. And then for me, branding is more just the visuals. For example, you can take this book, the branding is that red and that little bit of silver. So that's the branding. But then the brand strategy is like him telling you what he's going to show you inside of here, and the promise of that, of this book. That's the brand strategy.
Right. So when you say you're not the hero of the story, because I feel like that's a lot of, I will call it, a friend of mine uses this term, and the bro marketing strategy of, you know, this is why my product's so great, where I feel like more the feminine side of the strategy is, you know, here's what I went through. This is how I got through it. Now I help other people. At least that's the trend I see.
I see that.
Correct. I'm not trying to be stereotypical, because that's a generalization. Not all men do it like that.
Yeah.
But I see more women saying like, this is what I went through, and I was a victim of it, as not a victim, but
yeah.
I struggled through this, and now I want to help you do it. And so is that kind of what you're talking about, of, you know, you're not the hero of that story, you're really showing people that the framework or what you have to offer as a service provider or coach,
yes,
transforms, like the transformation.
Yeah, it's not about you. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's not all men that they do that, but I've seen them where like, you need to buy from me, like this is what it is and this is what it is, and it works for some people, right? But I do feel like in a way it has to be about the client's journey. And you have to, whether it's with your tagline or the message, that your vision statement, your mission statements, all of those things, you have to always think about that whenever you're posting content or whenever you're sharing anything. You have to come back to your roots and your fundamentals, and then your foundation, so that you can start from there, sharing and sharing and sharing. So I do feel like that it's important to understand that whenever you have a business, and you're serving, you have to understand that you're not the hero of the story. The person is coming to you because they need help. And usually when somebody needs help, they're looking for a guide. They're not looking for somebody to say like, I'm going to make your life so much better. Like, this is all you need. Just buy my $5,000 program or product. And it's going to, no, you need to understand first what they actually need, dissect that, and then offer, you know, a solution, you know. And then in the way that you market that, because we're also going to be talking about marketing, the way that you market yourself is showing the solutions, showing the transformations, sharing case studies, and doing all of those things with like, this is why my brand can guide you in what you need, other than this is my amazing product and you need to buy it now, which it works sometimes. And when you get up there, and when you have a lot of reviews, and when you have thousands and thousands of clients that can vouch for you, maybe you can go and change your strategy to just being like, we're here, just know that we're here. And people are still gonna buy, because you have built that brand to that recognition. But when you're starting, usually you just want to make sure that you are following your foundations, and that you are true to that promise that you're giving, right? Because if not, then you're gonna get messed up.
I think you just shared like a really important tip that's super overlooked in a lot of businesses. And you said that the branding and the marketing, they just go hand in hand, but it all ties back to the vision and the mission statement. So if anyone's watching the replay or just popping on live, that's so key that a lot of people think I can skip this step because it seems so trivial when they're starting their business. And it ties back into what I help women and entrepreneurs with
Exactly.
is the mission and the vision are going to drive not only your branding and your marketing, but it's going to drive your goals and your strategy for your operations, for your finances, for how you're building your team. All of that is going to tie back. So it's kind of like you're guiding. I saw an email about this today and it was called, they were talking about having a North Star in their business. And I really feel like your vision and your mission are really those North Stars in your business that you map your strategy around in all those different ways. So I just wanted to point that out for everyone watching and just tying that in. Like, that's a really good simple tip. If you don't have a mission or a vision statement, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to share it publicly unless you want to, but you should write it down, put it on a post-it note, put it on your whiteboard, something.
Exactly. And it can be as
wanna...
easy as like, my business is here because I want to empower other women to see their worth in their business. Let's say you're a business coach and I want to make sure that other businesses thrive. And, that's your mission. Your mission is to help other women. Your vision would be, I see this business growing in a way where I can employ 10 powerful women to grow an empire. And I see myself building more businesses with other people where we all thrive together. So there is a difference, and I think that it's important to have that. And when it comes to like the word strategy, because I feel like I need to talk about this, the word strategy is such a buzzword right now. Marketing strategy, business strategy, branding strategy. I wish there was another word, but for everything that you do in your business, you do have to have some type of strategy. Sometimes you can, like Linda says, you can throw spaghetti at the wall. And usually that doesn't work. But, you might be throwing stuff and something might click, and you might get a client from something that you did without even thinking about it. But then when you acquire that client, I'm sorry?
Especially if you're in the beginner stage, because you're trying to like trial and erroring things if you're not.
So you might feel like, oh, this worked, but it might work just one time, and if it did work, what was the process? Create an SOP of how you got that first client and try to do it again and replicate that process. Because I know you were like SOP. But I just feel like it's such an important thing to say when it comes to like, we are hearing a lot of, because there's such a boom in businesses right now, which I'm so excited about, online. We are hearing a lot of buzzwords for strategy, but it does have a use, that word. I wish there was another way, whether it's like, instead of content strategy will be content planning, but you also need to have a strategy to plan that content out. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents when it comes like that, because I do agree that, I even use it a lot. I don't want to keep using it, but it's true when it comes to your business, especially in the online space. You have to have a strategy, and take a shot of water every time I say that if you're on the replay.
I can't remember if I've already posted this or I wrote the post out recently, but like the topic was all about how strategy, like you mentioned, is a vague word. Well, I write that it's vague and it's very like much a buzzword, and people get very intimidated by a strategy, but it doesn't need to be complicated. It can be very simple. And I talk about that in my email masterclass, is really a strategy is just a plan. You have a plan or a goal in place that you're working towards. I try to tell people not to set like more than 2 or 3 for your like as your high end goals, because there's going to be so much work underneath it that you're doing. So like a good example of like my lead gen strategy a couple months ago was just focusing on a referral program and podcast guesting. I was like, those are the only 2 things I'm going to focus on. That's my strategy. Not worrying about social media, which I know Sam doesn't like to hear because she loves her social media and her marketing, but I'm back on it. So we're okay. I couldn't take it because it was overwhelming. So, what are some tips to plan out a good marketing strategy? Or can you give us some concrete examples of goals people should put in place to make it not so overwhelming? Because I do feel like people get overwhelmed with the word strategy because they think it has to be complicated. And 2, they think marketing is complicated because they feel they have to be on all the platforms.
Yeah. So first of all, no, you don't have to be on all platforms. You can pick one that you like and that you feel aligned with. So I feel like if you don't feel good about it, just sharing and ghosting the post, you're not going to get what you need from that platform, so you might as well leave. If you love to talk, go on Clubhouse. If you love to take pictures and videos, go to Instagram and be like more social, like go to Instagram. If you feel like you like more long form copy, go to Facebook, where you can rant about everything and anything on Facebook, and then maybe your crowd is there. If you feel like you cannot deal with social media, that's perfectly fine. I would recommend having a blog or having a YouTube series or going into Pinterest, which is not social media. But I do recommend having an outlet, whether it's social media or non-social media. Social media, when it comes to your marketing strategy, the first thing that I recommend is to make sure that you have a business account for your business. Do not post about your business on your personal account unless you're announcing something, but have it separate so that people know that you mean business. That will be my first tip, even before the marketing tip.
Very controversial, I would say, because a lot of coaches and gurus, and I struggled with that, is they were like, you need to post on your personal page. And to me, I was like, well, I'm keeping all my personal pages private.
Yeah.
I'm not ever going to open them up publicly because of what happened with me and, the domestic violence and, security reasons for my daughter. I'm like, but I also don't want to manage like 30 different pages. So I love that you shared that, like keeping it on a
you can
business
be personal on your business page.
Yeah.
So that's my first tip. When it comes to your business, please do not just post about your promotion for months and months and months, or your offer for months and months, and all you do is, I have this product, buy it. I have this product, buy it. Because people are gonna get tired of seeing an ad basically on your profile all the time. You have to make sure that your content is spread out in different pillars. So my first tip is to make sure that you have a business account. My second tip is to make sure that you do post about your personal life. Share your story. Every couple of months, reintroduce yourself to your audience so that they know and the new followers know who you are. After you have done that, you're also going to create a content strategy for your Instagram. Let's say that you have an Instagram. So you're going to decide on a couple of pillars that feel right to you, whether it's like, you should always have promotional posts, right? Not all the time, but that should be part of your content when you're selling. You should have personal stuff if you want to share. And personal stuff, I'm not saying like super personal, but it's just sometimes should be your face, a funny story, something that happened to you and made you realize that you needed to be a business owner. Something that makes your brand trustworthy, right? And then so you have your sales stuff, you have your personal, you can have motivational, and you can share somebody else's story also if you want to create community, which I recommend. So for motivational, I recommend transformations that your business has done, and that's very different from selling. Sharing somebody else's story or a client journey is just showcasing what your work can do. You don't have to talk about, and now go ahead and, I have this offer on that same post. Just let it be a good, feel good moment of like a client win. And then in the next post, you can talk about your offer. Exactly. So I just feel like it's important to do that. It's important to have different things that you post. So that's the first, like when it comes to like content pillars, those are the things that you can look. And then the last one, I don't know if I said the fourth one should be, so I said personal, promotional, motivational, and then I don't know what I said the fourth, but you can also do educational, which is educating your audience about what you do, why you do it, but also facts about the industry news, what's happening in the business of business coaching. And that way they know that you're knowledgeable and then you're an expert. And then another thing that you can do is also share, share somebody else's stories, but that can be also a motivational. And that's how you're gonna, if you were to take a white piece of paper, put down 4 columns and put promotional, motivational, educational, and here I keep forgetting. Promotional, educational, motivational, and sharing stories or sharing wins for client wins, and those can be your 4 pillars, and it depends on how you want to do it. And then you start writing different topics, and then you put them in different places throughout the week, throughout the month, and then that's how you're going to be able to have a little mix of everything, and then you're building community with all of these different posts, because some people resonate with the personal posts and then they will engage because of that, but then some people like more educational stuff. So you want to make sure that you are in a way speaking all about your business in different types of content. So they're all about your business. The personal can be about how you got to that business. Motivational can be about a struggle that somebody had. The promotional, it is about your business, and then the educational is showing that you're expert. So it's all of those things together. Even though they're all about your business, they're not going to feel all about your business. So I will say that when it comes to like starting with your marketing strategies, like market to different people in different ways with different content, but in a way they're all about the same thing.
Which is so good. It's such a good piece of advice, because I feel like as someone who's struggled with this, like marketing strategy was always very overwhelming to me. But then like you said, when you break it down into 4 or even 3, because you don't need to post 5 days a week if you don't want to.
I don't.
Having those core, I try, but I don't always. I'm getting better, but that's because I also have a lot of evergreen posts that I can reuse. So if I need to fill in a day, but I really started with like, okay, my goal is like, I just want to post 2 times a week. And then I bumped it up to 3, because, it's all about building habits. But if you have those pillars, it's like how my brain worked. And I know a lot of people watching that your brain might work like this too, is okay, I only need 4 motivational posts that I need to write for this month, where I only need 4 stories about my business or about whatever, or in 4 educational pieces. So I'm like, okay, 4 of each one is so less intimidating to me than I need 30 pieces of content for the month.
And then you can sit down for a day and like time block 2 hours, 1 hour, however however fast you work. The first thing you do is the piece of paper, the 4 columns, and then writing down different topics for your columns. And you can look at this on Pinterest. You can look this forever. They're called content pillars. So you're going to see which one resonates with you, because the examples that I gave you are just some of them. There's, a lot of them that you can use for your business, depending on what you do, especially if you have a product, a physical product. You can also do product highlight of the week. So that can be a piece of content. So there's so many things that you can do. And when it comes to like marketing, you can, like you said, you can reuse and repurpose all of your content, routinely.
I feel like after every 2 months, you can probably start getting away to like pulling things back in.
Yes.
Because people forget, and I think the statistic is someone needs to see it 7 times for it to resonate or even remember. So you might remember it was like a couple of weeks ago, but I promise you no one else is. Or just tweak the image, tweak the CTA, or tweak the hook, like 1 or 2 sentences. That's enough of a difference for them.
Exactly. When it comes to what you should do for your marketing at the end of 2021, I recommend 2 things. I want you to look at your year in review of how do you market yourself? Where were you most present? Where did you like to be in the most, whether it's a social media platform or not a social media platform, like on YouTube. Like I loved making videos. I loved, or even if you have a blog and that was your way to communicate in your business throughout the year, look at all the things that worked and look at all the things that maybe needed a little bit of improvement. When you do that, you're going to have content for next year. So let's say that you looked at all your stuff and you're like, okay, the thing that I loved the most was sending an email an email a week on my email newsletter. Well, you can take all of those emails and bite-size them and create new content for next year on a platform. Let's say Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest, however you want to do it. If what you did the whole year was mostly blog posts, you can reuse those blogs on Pinterest. You can create bite sizes of them with new images for your Instagram account. So you have to look at what did really well in your marketing this last year, this 2021, and reuse that. You can start with that so that you don't feel overwhelmed about starting again to create content again 2022. So look at those big pieces. Also, the pieces that resonated the most with your clients, with your audience, take that,
Right.
put that in a folder, and reuse that in a way for 2022. That way you have at least 6 months. If half of the year was great in your content, you have 6 months for next year. And then the other thing that I would do, so first will be year in review, what worked and what didn't. And then the other thing, start asking for testimonials and start sharing those now at the end of December, so that you can start with a base of people that trusted you this year, so that people can trust you next year. So start with asking for those testimonials, start asking for the reviews from like different, if you were in Facebook groups that you were really active, ask people like, you guys, did you guys learn? Because sometimes you go to Facebook groups and you might teach, right? Sometimes you go and you teach them, you give them value. You can look at the comment section of your videos and see what little nuggets you get there of people giving you like, this was great, I love it. Screenshot that, save that, share the client love at the end of the year, so that people know like, oh wow, she had a really good 2021, or he or them has a good 2021. So let's make sure that we work with them in 2022. So the two things that I'm giving you, you already have. You don't have to overthink it. It's just sharing the wins for 2021, because you want to market yourself as an expert. And then in 2022, you're going to work backwards. So you're going to go from the clients that gave you all of those testimonials, and all the people that gave you testimonial, or the content that you shared, and you're going to work that into your first couple of months as this is what I did in 2021, and 2022 is going to be even better because I have this amazing offer, and look at all the people that already serve them, because I already work with them. So
I feel like client stories and motivational stories that you talked about already, so for me as a perspective, like a buyer, or I look at that, and that's going to trigger me to want to buy when I see people sharing those screenshots or sharing their testimonials. I'm like, okay, I want that. Like obviously they did something with this person, now I want that. So I think those are really, really powerful, like you shared. And that my tip on top of Sam's tip is, if you guys follow me, or if you don't follow me, Sam knows this, I'm a huge ClickUp nerd, and I would say put them, like she said, take screenshots, collect them, put them in a list of client testimonials and separate them out, because then you'll also have a database and you can tag or categorize them about, maybe this was a testimonial about one specific product, or this was a testimonial on like how I've just helped them educationally, like I guess spoke. This is, categorize them in a way that makes sense, so that you can go back to them and use it as a database that's easily searchable for you, so you're not wasting time searching through a Google Drive or searching through your computer. It's right there. The images are already attached. You can just take it and reuse it. That's like one of the biggest things I've implemented for clients that they've loved. Or you can also create a list that is attached to a form, so that you can have a client feedback form, and the feedback of the form goes right into the database as well, so that you guys are tracking that as the year goes on, and you can easily, like I said, search it, because sometimes you're like, I remember, like, I know I had a testimonial with this keyword, and ClickUp, you can search the keyword, the task will come up with it. So it's like super helpful and saves you a bunch of time. That's my tip on top of Sam's tip.
Yes. And I feel like when it comes to like marketing, because marketing it's people complicate this about marketing, but marketing is just the way you show people that you're good at what you do, the way that you show people how it's marketing yourself. You market, your business. So you're just marketing your business. And I feel like we overcomplicate, where it just should be like, if we have a really strong brand strategy, and we know that we're here to guide our clients or customers you know, through a journey and help them solve a problem, then you know that one of the ways that you can market yourself is, hey, this is all the people that I've helped before and I can help
Right.
you. So I feel like that's, you know, that's two things. Look at what worked and what didn't, and where do you feel the best? Because I feel like 2022 should be the year where you focus on the spaces where you really want to be in, even if it's just one space, because then you can become really good at that and then repurpose from there. I just learned from, I think it was Linda, that now Clubhouse, it records the room sessions. So maybe you can download those and create like a podcast, or there's so many things that are happening in 2022 when it comes to audio and video, that if you don't feel aligned with Facebook anymore, if you don't feel like being on social media all the time, you can just focus on one if that's what you want to do, you know?
Right.
And then when it comes to like the first couple of months of 2022 is making sure, focusing on your main offer, and then from there having smaller little offers that all are mapped into that one main offer. So that will be my other tip. When you're the holidays, don't work. But if you're going to work at the beginning of January, go ahead and sit down, or if you're doing it this week, sit down and look at your business from how you want to see that business in a year.
So I don't know if you can see the comments. You can see it. It looks like. Do you have a suggestion on places to start a podcast at?
I don't have a podcast, but I know that you work with Linda on her podcast, and I know, oh, there you go, Linda. Hey, thank you, Linda.
Yep. And my sister just started her podcast, and she's going to be on with me next week talking about mental health and the seasons. But yeah, Libsyn is really easy to use and a great place to start hosting it.
I do feel like podcasting for next year is going to be really big. It is really big right now, but it's going to be even more because you can, you know, reuse and repurpose that content so much, especially if you do both where you're recording yourself, you can put that on YouTube. And then if you're recording like just the audio, that's good. But then if you're doing both, that would be amazing for you to get bite sizes of that. So I think that's really good. If you're able to sit down before the year ends, or even at the beginning of January, sit down, look at what worked, what didn't, and where you want to be at the end of 2022. At the end of 2022, I want to have my podcast, for example, or at the end of 2022, I want to be known in these social media platforms. So you have to work towards that. So work thinking about the end already, how you want to be seen in 2022. There you go. Exactly.
Yes, Linda.
Exactly.
But exactly. That was awesome. I am so thankful to have, I know we could talk forever, so I feel like I have to that was a good place to wrap up, because you gave us so many good tips to not only end the year, but how do we start the year strong? And everyone's thinking about their planning right now, so that it was perfect. And we had questions. If you guys are watching or have questions after, feel free to drop them in the comment section later, or whenever they come up, because Sam and I are here as resources for you. And I just want to thank you, Sam, because this was super educational. I learned a lot too.
I unfortunately can talk forever, and that's a problem. But
but I also know you have to go to the dentist, so I was like, I better run. So thank you, Sam. Thank you to everyone who joined live and everyone watching the replay. And I hope you can rest and take these tips that Sam gave us and really implement and start your year off strong.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Bye.
Bye, love.